Hey guys, there's something that we need to address in this game that not enough people are talking about. And what I'm talking about is essentially the fact that the pool keeps getting diluted by these terrible, terrible characters. But let's get into it. This is not really like a jab at anyone. This is not like, hey, the game's dying or whatever. This is just something that bothers me and has been for a while, and I've been wanting to talk about, and I think it's the perfect time to talk about it, especially with the introduction of Edith recently, which is kind of the main focus of this video that I'm going to be talking about. So first of all, what is it exactly that I'm complaining about here? Because at the end of the day, I am complaining. It's not the biggest deal, but it's still something I think needs to be thought about and considered, and that is the fact that the pool gets diluted all the time, and then all the good heroes end up being harder to get. So the reason why I bring Edith into the equation here is because I don't think Edith is good. I don't think she's good. Just straight up, I think she's bad. First of all, she's a watcher tank, which already is a bad sign. Rip Regulus. Regulus is good, but Watcher is not a good tank faction. You know, she does some interesting things, but ultimately a tank is not going to do a lot of damage. It's interesting. Sure, she has a cool design and she has cool abilities and stuff, but at the end of the day, she is not a good hero. She's bad. Just simply, I don't think you'll meet very many people that say that Edith is amazing and oh my god, Edith, I love Edith. You know, she does damage off of defense, cool, and that's about it. She does knockback too. Knockback's not the best ability ever, but it's not the worst. But the reason why Edith is bad for the game, and the reason why I'm kind of bringing this video up, is because by the very act of introducing Edith into the pool, makes it so that every other character is so much harder to get. Because the way that the pools work is they essentially have three sections, I guess you could say. One is the common bucket, one is the rare bucket, and one is the uber rare bucket. And there's also lords, which I'm not really going to add to my thoughts, but they essentially have different buckets. And whenever a hero is introduced, every other hero's chance of being obtained gets lowered just a little bit. Because, of course, they do. It's out of 100%, and it keeps going down progressively. And that's normal. But the reason why it's bad is because of two things. The one is Edith is a common bucket hero, which means she's taking more percent from the other heroes that we actually want, like things like Silas and Comet and Hex. You know, these are all in rare buckets. So we're taking those. We're getting less chances to get those heroes. We're getting less chance to get other common bucket heroes like Valkyria, Shamir. I guess you could like mention, sure, but that's not really a bad thing. But we're getting a lot less of those heroes, and it's amplified by the fact that she's also a common bucket versus if she was a rare bucket or something. But it also doesn't make sense to make her a rare bucket because she's a tank and she's not very good. So it creates like this kind of issue where you have to give her decent rates, and then she simultaneously is making the actually good heroes rates a lot worse. And another reason why this is kind of bad for the game is because of the way that the content is formatted in this game, especially with things like Gear Raid 4, which just dropped recently, again for the second time, is there's such a high emphasis for new content and just old content to require certain heroes in this game to where when you lower the chance to get them, so many more people are going to struggle. And the reason why I bring this up with Gear Raid 4 is purely because in order to beat Gear Raid 4 Stage 6, you need one of three heroes. And one of those heroes is Demi, who's an ancient exclusive lord. So, minus her, you need one of two heroes to beat this content. And that's Valkyria or Comet, both of which I don't have. And maybe this video is just me screaming into the void because I don't have either and I cannot beat this content. But it just every day it feels like new heroes are coming out that aren't good and will not help you, and then they're taking the chances away from other heroes that you need. And because the content's being formatted in such a way where you need certain heroes to beat it, it's really bad. Okay, And I have a problem with it personally, because I just don't want to see the game go in the direction that Raid has gone in for a very long period of time. I don't think it will, because a lot of the heroes that are being dropped still are pretty good, and some of the epics are good. Like Ibiza is really good. Straight up Ibiza will help you beat grade 1 stages. We got a bunch of decent characters come out recently. Like Artemis is really good. Kai is kind of bad, suffers the same thing as Edith, but there's still some decent heroes that have come out somewhat recently. Like Trusk is pretty good. Constance is good. You know, stuff like that. So the baseline for heroes is still really good in this game, but I don't want to see it go down even just vaguely the raid route, where they come out with legendaries. The legendaries are hot ass, and some of the worst legendaries you've ever seen in any game. And I don't want that to happen to this game. Like Kriya is newer. Kriya's garbage. She's so bad. She just dilutes the pool. So many people have pulled her. I've pulled a couple. She's terrible. There's no reason for her to exist at all, because she has no uses and she is garbage. Okay, so it's just Edith is kind of falling into that same boat. Sure, she's decent. She's usable. She's not bad. But in the tank faction, you really need something revolutionary, because Olag Baron exists. So this is just, once again, as I will keep reinstating, pulling away from the good heroes rates. Like now you'll have a lesser chance to get Brokir, who's actually good. Stuff like that. And I just don't like seeing that. It's bad. And further emphasizing, or to further elaborate on the fact that certain content needs certain heroes, is just, if we look at all the content that has been coming out for a while, sure, there's been somewhat regular content updates and new things, but a lot of it is so hero specific that essentially most of us are not getting the full content. Like, once again, Gear Dungeon, Stage 6. If we look through here, we have a Vierna, but we also have a Valk. We have a Valkyria here. You need either Vierna or Comet, and you also need Valk. So you need either Vierna and Comet or something. You could do it with Iona and Comet, I guess, but you need either Comet or Valkyria, and it's brutal. Like, look at this. There's not a single team you will see with no Comet or no Valkyria, right? It's just, it's crazy how often you will see these teams, because it's all that you kind of are going to see, because that's how the new content is geared. And then if we look at Codex, which Codex is not on right now, but if you look at Codex, there's so many hero specific things. Like the Pelagios boss, sure, is not that hero specific compared to a lot of things. You can use like Brienne or Maul, for example. But the top teams are going to use Yovar, who's coming soon. I will have a leak video out on that soon, so stay tuned. I will have 3 leak videos out this week, actually. But Pelagios needs a Piercer Lord, which lots of people don't have. We have, like, you need Kai, Razak, or Nyx, and they're going to be less likely to be obtained, right? And although they're not rare by any means, I'm just saying, what content is Edith going to be useful enough to justify being added to the game? And that's kind of the topic and the conversation and that's the question I want to ask you guys right now, is why is something like Edith being added? She's not good in any content that she would shine in. She's just an average tank that does normal tank things, which is fulfilled by literally every tank over here. It's fulfilled by Olag, Baron, even Titus, Isolde, Avalon, Livian, all of these epic tanks. You could get rid of all of the legendary tanks and be fine, except maybe the lords, because they have lord bonuses. And then they're just adding kind of cookie cutter tanks, and that's kind of the only thing I wanted to talk about, is a lot of these heroes being added that don't bring anything to the table, like Kriya, for example, and I just don't like seeing it. I'm hoping the devs actually release more epic heroes, and we have Kanina coming out eventually, but Kanina's not even good. We need more diversity in our heroes in terms of epics, specifically. I think that'll help save the game. Not that the game is dying anytime soon, but I know a lot of people are saying it is. Personally, I don't think so. I'm not a doomer for the state of the game, but I just say I hope they fix things and introduce things that they should have a while ago, And while I don't think the game is dying, it certainly does need a little bit of help. And hopefully some things get added. That's just an opinion. This is just a rant video. So I don't mean anything by anything. I'm just saying my thoughts, and I had to vent a little bit. So thank you guys for watching. Tell me if you guys agree in the comments down below. If you think that she really is a bad thing. If you don't care, if you like Edith, that's okay. Just comment your thoughts, and yeah, that's about it. That's all I gotta talk about, and thank you guys for watching. Destined, signing out.